In Buddhism, lust for someone is seen as a harmful emotion that can cause a lot of suffering and problems. The Buddha taught that lust is one of the three poisons, along with anger and ignorance. These three poisons are called that because they poison our minds and keep us from finding true happiness and peace. Lust is often understood as a strong desire for another person, usually focused on their physical appearance or the idea of being with them in a romantic or sexual way. This kind of desire can lead to many difficulties, both for the person feeling it and for others around them. Lust for someone means being very attached to the idea of being with that person. This attachment can make a person constantly think about the other person, dream about being with them, and feel like they can't be happy without them. This is a problem because it puts too much importance on one person and makes it seem like they are the key to happiness. In reality, everything in life, including people and relationships, is always changing.
People change, feelings change, and situations change. When we become too attached to someone, we often forget this and start to believe that being with them will bring us permanent happiness. But because everything is always changing, this kind of happiness is never permanent. When things don't go as we hoped, we can feel very disappointed and sad. For example, if someone has a crush on another person and constantly thinks about being with them, they might feel very happy when they are around that person. But if the person they like doesn't feel the same way, or if they start liking someone else, it can cause a lot of pain and suffering. This is because the person with the crush was attached to the idea of being with the other person and believed that this would make them happy. When this doesn't happen, they feel a deep sense of loss and unhappiness. Lust can also lead to ethical problems. When people are driven by lust, they might do things that are wrong or hurtful to others. For instance, someone might lie or deceive another person to try to win their affection. They might pretend to be someone they're not or say things they don't mean just to get the other person to like them. In more serious cases, lust can lead to actions like cheating on a partner or even being disrespectful or aggressive towards someone. These actions not only cause harm to others, but also create negative consequences for the person doing them. In Buddhism, this is known as creating bad karma, which means that negative actions lead to future suffering. The Buddha taught that it's important to live ethically and treat others with kindness and respect. When we act out of lust, we often forget about these important values and focus only on satisfying our desires. This can cause a lot of harm and create a cycle of guilt and regret. For example, if someone cheats on their partner because they are attracted to someone else, they might feel guilty and ashamed later. They may also cause a lot of pain to their partner, which can lead to feelings of regret and sadness. One of the biggest problems with lust is that it creates the illusion that we can find lasting happiness through another person. We might think, if only I could be with this person, I would be happy forever. But this is not true. Even if we do get to be with the person we desire, the happiness we feel is often temporary. Over time, the excitement of being with someone new fades, and the relationship might face challenges. The person we were so attracted to might change, or our feelings might change. This is because, in reality, all things are impermanent and constantly changing. Buddhism teaches that true and lasting happiness comes from within, not from external things or people. This means that we can't rely on someone else to make us happy all the time. Instead, we need to cultivate inner peace and contentment. This involves understanding our desires and seeing through the illusion that external things can bring us lasting happiness. When we understand this, we can start to let go of our attachment to desires and focus on finding happiness within ourselves.
Overcoming lust involves a combination of understanding, mindfulness, and ethical behavior. First, it's important to understand the nature of lust and the problems it causes. Recognizing that lust is based on attachment to impermanent things can help us see why it's not a reliable source of happiness. This understanding can be deepened through the practice of mindfulness, which involves paying attention to our thoughts and feelings without getting carried away by them. By observing our desires and seeing how they come and go, we can start to detach from them and reduce their power over us. Meditation is another important practice in overcoming lust. Through meditation, we can calm our minds and develop a sense of inner peace. There are different types of meditation, but one common practice in Buddhism is concentration meditation. This involves focusing the mind on a single point, such as the breath, to develop focus and calmness. Another important practice is insight meditation, which helps us understand the nature of our minds and the world around us. Insight meditation can help us see the impermanence of all things, including our desires, and develop a sense of detachment. Ethical behavior is also crucial in overcoming lust. This means living in a way that is kind and respectful to others. In Buddhism, there are precepts or ethical guidelines that help guide behavior. One of these precepts is to avoid sexual misconduct, which means not engaging in sexual behavior that is harmful to others. This includes being faithful in relationships and not using others for one's own pleasure. Practicing ethical behavior helps us develop a sense of integrity and reduces the negative consequences of our actions. The ultimate goal in Buddhism is to achieve nirvana, a state of perfect peace and freedom from suffering. Overcoming lust is an important part of this journey. Lust is one of the defilements that cloud our minds and keep us from seeing reality clearly. By overcoming lust, we can clear our minds and experience true peace and clarity. This involves not only letting go of our desires for others but also cultivating a deep sense of contentment and equanimity. Equanimity means being calm and balanced, no matter what happens in life. It means not being overly excited by pleasure or overly upset by pain. To cultivate equanimity, we need to develop a deep understanding of the nature of reality. This includes understanding that everything is impermanent and that true happiness comes from within. It also involves developing compassion for all beings and wishing for their happiness. When we let go of our attachment to desires and cultivate compassion and wisdom, we can find true happiness and peace. In conclusion, the Buddha taught that lust for someone is a sin not because it is morally wrong, but because it causes suffering and keeps us from finding true happiness. Lust leads to attachment, ethical problems, and the illusion that we can find lasting happiness through another person. To overcome lust, we need to understand its nature, practice mindfulness and meditation, and live ethically. By doing so, we can find inner peace and happiness and progress on the path to liberation. This journey requires patience and dedication, but it leads to a deep and lasting sense of fulfillment and peace.